Buongiorno a tutti. Today, I'm going to address a common concern for many tourists: how to tip in Italy. This can be confusing, and in fact, for many people visiting Italy, this is really hard to get right. Many foreigners don't know how tipping works in Italy. For example, at the restaurant, they don't know if tipping is required or if it's included in the receipt. Or with services like, for example, a taxi drive, they don't know how much to leave as a tip. So foreigners don't know when to tip in Italy or if they are tipping too much or too little, and they fear being perceived as disrespectful. Now, here's why this happens. Of course, every country has different customs regarding tipping. For example, in the US, there are very strong social norms around tipping. When you dine at a restaurant, the tip is usually not included in the bill, but customers are expected to add it themselves, typically as a percentage of the meal's cost. And those percentages are not really discretionary. They are well established social norms, usually around 15 or 20% of the meal price. This does not happen in Italy. So that's why most foreigners are at a loss about tipping here. So in Italy, we don't have any strict rules regarding tipping. The only rule is this: you don't have to tip. It's not mandatory at all. And that's what most Italians do. We usually don't tip at the restaurant unless we really want to express our satisfaction for an exceptional service. So, if that's the case you're in, here's how to tip in true Italian style. First of all, you can round up the bill, for example, at the restaurant. Let's suppose you have a bill for 57 euros. You can round it up to 60 euros. That's perfect. Or you can leave a few coins on the money box at the cafe. So if you go to an Italian cafe, un bar in Italia, you will notice that usually next to the cashier there's a small box, and that's the box for collecting tips. So let's suppose you are al bar at the bar and you had cornetto e cappuccino. When you pay at the cashier, you can leave €1 coin inside the tipping box. Another option you have for tipping in true Italian style is to leave a banknote for an extremely kind service. For example, if you had a very good taxi drive or a very careful hotel waiter, you can leave them a €5 banknote, a €10 banknote, and that will be perfect. By the way, I'm curious, have you ever found yourself in doubt regarding when and how to tip in Italy? Let me know in the comments about your experience. Now, let's go back to the examples. What I want you to please keep in mind is that these are not rules set in stones, just general guidelines. So don't get stuck with remembering them. I just wanted to show you some examples. The only thing that I want you to remember is this: you don't have to tip. But if you feel extremely satisfied and grateful, then go ahead and do it. By the way, if you want to understand all the practical aspects of what it's really like to live here in Italy, then my Living in Italy guide can be very helpful. This guide walks you step by step through bureaucracy, healthcare, daily life, and cultural differences with clear explanations and practical advice based on real experience, so you know what to expect and how to navigate things with confidence when in Italy. If you would like to learn more about living in Italy, click the link below in the description. Now, something else that I want to share with you. I remember a student once told me that tipping in Italy is considered offensive. So they told me that waiters already have a salary, so it would be disrespectful to them to give them extra money. Now, I have to tell you, this is a false assumption. The reality is, in Italy, is this. Tipping is definitely not expected, but it's still very acceptable because salaries in service jobs are actually pretty modest. And more importantly, the tipping is seen as a recognition for excellent service. So I'm going to share with you a personal experience. When I was a student at university, I also worked part-time as a waitress at a local pizzeria. And I still remember, still to this day, that when I received a €5 tip, that made my day because of the strong sense of appreciation that I had with that tip. It meant that I made a difference in those people experience when eating their pizza. So it made me really happy. So please remember, tipping is definitely not the norm in Italy, but because of that, it has a stronger meaning. So it will be very well received if you want to express your gratitude to someone for an exceptional service. So remember, no mandatory tip in Italy, just do as you feel. And that's all for today. I will see you in the next video. Ciao da Valentina.